Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining our webinar today. My name is Chanakya Lokam, and I'm the Director for Marketing and Innovation at Miracle Software Systems. I will be the co-host and also a speaker in today's webinar, Two-Speed IT, Microservices, and the IBM Bluemix story. Along with me, we have Alan Chat from IBM Hershey Labs. He is the Messaging Product Manager, and he will also be speaking about Bluemix and how it can be used as a digital innovation platform. Today's agenda will cover a quick introduction into Miracle and what we do at Miracle. We'll also be talking about our Innovation Labs team and what they do every day. We'll then give you a quick introduction about digital transformation and two-speed IT, followed by an introduction of IBM Bluemix. We'll also be asking questions around whether you're a disruptor or are you being disrupted, followed by the digital value chain. And we'll also be talking about the self-service model with IBM Bluemix and MQLight that helps today's enterprises innovate every day. That'll be followed by a Q&A session. You can use either the right side chat panel to send in your questions, or you can also raise your hand and we would be more than happy to unmute you so that you can ask your questions vocally. So a quick introduction to Miracle. Miracle is a global systems integrator. We are headquartered out of Novi, Michigan in the United States. We are about 2,000 employees located globally across our global delivery centers in the United States, Canada, and India. Our offshore expertise from India and Canada helps us to provide low-cost services, but at the same time we try to provide affordable innovation, and that's the key motto behind our teams. Our teams work in various industry verticals including manufacturing and automotive, energy and utilities, logistics and supply chain, healthcare and pharmacy, along with retail and BFSI sectors as well. Our strategic partnerships include being a premier partner with IBM, a technology services partner with SAP, a gold partner with Oracle, and also a silver app development partner with Microsoft. Our Miracle Labs team believes in empowering change through innovation. We believe at the Innovation Labs that cost differentiation and labor savings alone are not going to be enough for an enterprise today to cut the grade. If enterprises want to grow and if enterprises want to create new business value, they have to be able to reinvent themselves every day. Our teams try and take customer feedback, put in real-time experience, and use applied research to enable our customers to be ready for tomorrow's challenges. Our teams work on the CAM strand, which include cloud, analytics, mobile, social, and security. So why do organizations need innovation? The answer is simple. Today's organizations need to be able to innovate themselves every day so that they can create new business value as well as keep themselves ahead of the competition. Today, users are the kings in an app economy, and if you're not able to please them every day, whenever they want, you're going to run out of the business and run out of competition. So moving forward, what is digital transformation and what is two-speed IT? Some of the numbers around digital transformation that are happening today. There are about 2.5 quintillion bytes of data that are being created every day. That number is only going to increase, and all this data is going to be crunched to provide more analytics around user behavior. 85% of enterprises are using external cloud services, which showcases the adoption of cloud among enterprises and how enterprises are now willing to take risks in terms of putting their data outside of the enterprise. We're also seeing a large-scale adoption of mobile, both internally inside the enterprises and by consumers. 535 billion US dollars are expected to be made in mobile transactions in 2015. Currently, we have 4.9 billion connected things in the world. That number is expected to go to 50 billion by 2020. The glue in terms of digital transformation for all these technologies is considered to be the API economy, where 75% of Fortune 1000 companies are expected to have external or public APIs by 2020 as well. So what is two-speed IT? In today's enterprises, we're seeing a new mode of bimodal IT, which fast IT and slow IT combine together to provide digital applications in coherence with enterprise applications. The slow IT or slow speed IT is where you have your enterprise applications. These traditionally follow the waterfall model with traditional slow change life cycles. These are usually the mission critical legacy systems. Your digital applications have a much more rapid change cycle with agile and DevOps principles included. These are usually created by the innovator or orange lace developers that we have today. The technology evolution is basically how these enterprise systems of innovation or engagement are working along with the enterprise systems of record and insight. The way the larger gear turns along with the smaller gear is how enterprises are trying to innovate today. As you can see, the pace of change is changing rapidly. Systems of engagement need to be changed daily or even weekly, whereas systems of record are going to take months and years possibly for change to happen in a traditional manner. With that being said, let me hand it over back to Alan to take you into the nuances and the world of IBM Bluemix. Alan, it's all yours.
Hi, and thank you. So my name is Alan Chatt, and I'm based in the UK, working for IBM. I'm part of our product management team covering the messaging portfolio, and specifically covered the MQLight, which is one of the services that we have in the IBM Bluemix platform. But today, I'm really pleased to be invited to come and talk to you a bit more about the Bluemix platform in general, and what it is, what it does, and what part it plays as part of a digital transformation. So I'd like to start really by just on this single chart description overview of what the Bluemix platform is, and I really like this as a one-line description. Bluemix is an open standards cloud-based messaging platform for building, running, and managing your applications in the cloud. And this, for me, really does sum up what we mean by Bluemix. And so, when we say open standards, that really encompasses how it's based on a couple of really substantial projects like OpenStack and Cloud Foundry, which not only are we kind of consuming and bringing to market as part of Bluemix, but we're also contributing heavily back to both of those projects as open source initiatives. So in terms of a platform, Bluemix is absolutely great at allowing you to build your applications in your way, in the way that you want. And that means that's not only kind of how you want to deploy them, but it's also like independent of the language or framework that you want to create them in. So be that things like Node or Ruby or Java or Python, Go, and any of the languages that you can imagine. IBM Bluemix is a polyglot platform, which means that we can cope with any and all of them. As far as platforms go, scale is important, but in Bluemix, when we say scale, we don't just mean increasing the number of instances of your application that you can run. Of course, that's part of it. But when you actually scale up an application, it's actually important to scale everything that goes alongside it as well. So that's scaling the development processes and how do you team across a larger development organization. Scaling the monitoring and logging tools that you actually need to deploy your application and need to keep a track of what's actually going on. And how do you actually scale all of these things automatically in the cloud in response to workload spikes? So this is what the Bluemix platform does for you. It's all about extending your application or providing your application, furnishing it with the services that it requires to actually work. So we've got an extensive catalog within the Bluemix platform that you can view, and this covers everything from your kind of what I would call foundational technologies, so your caching, your data stores, your messaging services, but we go way beyond this, and so you'll find things like analytic services, you'll find some of the cognitive computing services based on the Watson technologies. And this is somewhere, these are services that you can easily provision and incorporate into your application. Again, all part of the Bluemix platform. Now, developing and managing applications in the cloud is fine, but what really differentiates engaging applications, what truly makes them engaging, is when they integrate back into all of the systems that already run your business. And alongside all of those services that I've mentioned within Bluemix, we have a whole suite of technologies that allow you to integrate back into your existing systems of record. And that allows you to easily take advantage of all the investments that you already have, all of the systems that run your business when you're creating your new applications in the fast speed of IT. Security, it kind of goes without saying now, any cloud platform needs to have security baked in at every layer. But what people are typically coming to cloud platforms for is this flexibility of pricing, what's sometimes called cloud economics. And this is less about kind of just paying less overall. It's about paying for precisely what you use. Having a range of pricing options that are cater for the way that you want to use the cloud for that particular application. And again, Bluemix allows you to mix and match what you just pay for as you go. So you literally just, in the case of messaging, you might pay by the message. In the case of runtimes, you might pay by the gigabyte hour or something like that, as well as pricing for applications that you want actually deployed for a substantial amount of time. So you might actually provision, pay for like an entire platform for 12 months in the case of a dedicated instance. And so this is all, again, part of the IBM Bluemix platform. And this is what we refer to collectively as IBM Bluemix. Now, I kind of hinted there at a range of deployment options or range of options that you have with Bluemix. And just to delve into that a little bit deeper, what we have are three main ways that you can consume the Bluemix platform. And it's important to stress up front that the experience that you get, irrespective of which one of these you choose, is exactly the same across all of them. And that's been really important for us, is to deliver that single seamless experience across all of these environments. You can use them interchangeably. But to run through them in order, we start off with our public cloud offering, and this is a public multi-tenanted instance of Bluemix, where every service that we have is available for purchase, and everything is on a pay-by-use basis, a pay-as-you-go basis. And so you can provision things entirely on demand. It's entirely self-service, and you just pay for how much of it that you use. Now, if we move beyond a multi-tenanted service and we start thinking about environments where you're thinking seriously about the production use of your application, or maybe you combine that with some regulatory requirements that apply in different countries or different industries, you might actually need something that is entirely dedicated to you from the physical machines upwards. So you're still looking for that entirely hosted environment, but it needs to be just your applications, just your code, just your data in that environment. And this is where Bluemix Dedicated comes in. So we have the ability to stand up an entire Bluemix environment just for your organization. To be used, again, it can be used in entirely the same way as you use the public environment, but it's anything you deploy there is just for you, but it's the same experience. And then recently we've started talking about what we refer to as Bluemix Local. And what we mean here is, again, that same Bluemix experience, but deployed in your data center, running on your hardware. And this gives you, I guess, an increased control over precisely where that data is located. And it also locates your innovation platform, your Bluemix environment, right next to your existing systems of record. If that close tie is really important to you, then Bluemix Local is a very interesting option indeed. So moving on to the next slide, where we talk a little bit beyond like how you can consume the platform as a whole, and how can you actually start deploying things into the platform. And again, Bluemix here gives you a whole range of options depending on how much flexibility you want and you need over the environment where you're deploying your applications. So if we start on the left-hand side, which is kind of the most managed, the most hosted environment that you can look at, something that we call instant runtimes. So this is really where the Cloud Foundry base shows through, and you can just provide us with just your application code. and we will provision the VM, we will provision the runtimes, and we will actually deploy and start your code all as part of the platform. And this can apply to any code written in Node, or maybe it's in WAS Liberty or Ruby or any of the other languages that we're talking about. It can provision any of those runtimes for you, but it's entirely automatic and very, very convenient for deploying code that you just want to get running. Now, if you move beyond that and you're looking for like slightly more control, so you're quite happy that you want someone to deal with the hassle of managing an operating system for you, but actually your application has a set of dependencies that you want to carefully package and control and manage yourself. So actually, this is the sweet spot that containers technologies, things like Docker, come in. And IBM's container technology allows you to create, build your container yourself. You can test it locally, you can run it locally, but actually deploy that up into Bluemix and it will run as your container in the Bluemix platform. And again, that's about giving you slightly more control over the application that you're deploying. And now, if you carry that on even further, if you want control over absolutely everything from the operating system upwards, then again, you get that with virtual machines. So you can, again, go to the Bluemix platform and build entire virtual machine stacks with your own operating system, your own monitoring, your own tools as part of that, and deploy that entire image into the Bluemix platform, while still taking advantage of all of the services that you can connect to, all of those managed services that I referred to that are in the catalog. So these are the three main ways that we can deploy applications into the Bluemix platform that give you varying levels of control over what you're deploying. So all the way through this presentation so far, right from the beginning, we've been hearing about this focus on agility and how the two speeds of IT, certainly on the fast side, it's all about agility. But why is there this focus on agility? Why have we created Bluemix to be so self-service and able to be so agile in the applications that you're deploying on there? And this really comes down to the fact that all of the high-growth companies, all of the people who are constantly in the news because their user base is doubling or tripling on a very regular basis, and they're continuing to see this growth. It's because it's not because they just got lucky. This is a lot of hard work, and they are able to deliver what the user wants in the ways that the user wants, at the time that the user wants, in the place that the user wants. So that's why you'll see like a huge increase in like mobile, because that allows you to get to the user wherever or whenever that the user wants to engage with you. And again, these experiences aren't crafted overnight. They don't arrive at them via some kind of divine inspiration. It's by pure and iterative and relentless refinement of the experience that they're delivering. And the only way that they can actually do that quick enough is to have a relentless focus on the agility of their development team, which again is why you'll see this constant focus on how quickly can I take a code change and put it in the hands of a real user. That's really the metric that people are looking at when they're referring to agility. And the thing is, this as soon as you get to these kind of levels of agility, where you're able to alter your experience in response to customer feedback almost in real time, certainly like hours away from like observing something that you need to adjust. This is what's allowing you to really start disrupting a market. So places where you thought it was there was no room for innovation. We were kind of stuck with banking as it is today. It's we're starting to see a lot of startups come along and disrupt those assumptions, and it's because they're able to iterate so quickly. And that leads us on to the kind of question that we all need to be asking ourselves is which one are we? Are we the ones who are there managing our systems, kind of happy with maybe weekly, monthly, let's be honest, in many cases annual release cycles, in that case, are we the ones who are being disrupted? Are we seeing startups who are coming around, who are releasing things daily, hourly to their users, or are we the ones who are doing that? Are we the ones who are actually disrupting our own markets, reaching new customers, through new channels? That's really the question that we need to be asking ourselves. So when we think about how this is actually happening, so let's take a look at what like, say, a traditional company might actually go through when they are looking to make this transformation. So we see people who they start by just looking at what makes them unique. What is their unique selling point? What is it that customers come to them for, to them and no one else? And then they start saying, well, okay, how can we expose that to a new channel, to a new set of people that we've just never even been able to reach before? And the first port of call almost always is to start thinking about, right, I'm going to expose this as APIs. I'm going to create an interface that I can actually go and innovate around, actually create new experiences around. But they're going to all be around what makes me unique. So they create those UIs, APIs, and these are what are consumed by the different developers. Now these might be in-house developers. Maybe you've got a line of business team that are developing a new mobile app to reach a new mobile market. Or actually they're public APIs, and you go the step of making these public. These could be kind of anyone, anywhere who's creating, say, a mashup application or anything, just hacking it together, and they can interact with you because they have access to these APIs. And then it's these applications that are really can lead to true disruption in the marketplace, because they're the ones that are delivering the experiences that our customers want to consume. They're the ones that are able to reach new customers that we've never even been able to get to before. And for me, the industry that really highlights this is the banking industry, because again, like 5 years ago, I guess certainly I was in the position of assuming that every bank had a physical presence on the high street, and I could walk in and I had to go there to open an account. And to be honest, I wasn't really expecting any new names to come along. Occasionally there were some mergers and coming together in the industry, but for the most part it seemed relatively static. Certainly here in the UK, we've had at least 2 startups granted banking licenses in the last 12 months. And these startups, they're not coming at this from the traditional point of view. They're looking at this from the perspective of, well, how can we serve this industry? What do we need to do without a physical presence? They're going to be entirely mobile driven. And I think ahead to, like, when my kids come to open their first bank account, it wouldn't be a surprise to me in the slightest if they never actually walk into a physical bank again. They will interact with these companies entirely over mobile phones, and that really changes the relationship at that point. You're not having to go somewhere. You're less invested in the company. It's a lot easier for you to change, much less frictionless experience, and this is what I mean by enabling disruption. So let's talk a little bit now about Bluemix. A little bit more about how are people actually engaging with Bluemix and starting to use Bluemix as a platform to enable some of this digital transformation, enable this disruption. So I guess the first port of call, the first thing you absolutely have to do is learn about what's available to you, learn about the new technologies. And this is where both IBM and our partners like Miraclesoft are really starting to engage with customers around this thought of digital transformation and what's available to me, and how can I use it as part of a digital transformation, and how starting to think through how that might apply to each individual company in their unique situation, in their unique market, with their unique value propositions. Now, with Bluemix, it actually makes, there's nothing that can beat actually getting your hands-on and experimenting with some of this technology. And Bluemix as a platform makes it incredibly easy to do, because it's all there at your fingertips, available to provision almost instantaneously when you want to play with it. And to help that along, we've created a range of starter kits that allow you to get started along different avenues of exploration. So I've just listed a few of them here. There's probably at least 15 or 20 up in Bluemix at the moment. So you might be exploring along like Internet of Things and connecting physical devices together. It might be about instrumenting mobile applications to actually get a deeper insight into how your users want to interact with you. Or it might be about like the big thought around analytics, like how can you actually get more insight out of the information, of the data that you already have in your hands. Now, so that's using a set of really interesting technologies. Where Bluemix really differentiates itself is where we're releasing some of the services around the Watson technologies, so the things that powered our Watson systems. So you'll see a whole bunch of cognitive computing services that, again, you can provision instantly and get going with straight away. And these might open up whole new avenues for you in your particular situation, in your particular industry, that you might not have even believed possible. So again, experimenting and innovating with the technologies is very important as part of the transformation process. And then finally, it's not just about experimenting. It's not just about playing and learning. There are people actually building the future and building their future on top of the Bluemix platform. And this is what I was saying at the beginning. It's about developing, building, running, and managing your applications on this platform. So there's a whole raft of examples that we can point to that are listed on the Bluemix website. But I particularly like the fact that IBM is not just talking about this, we are doing this. And so you will see some examples around a cloud offering that we have called Presence Insights, which is aimed at retailers. But the point about this is not what Presence Insight does, it's what we are doing on top of Bluemix. So we used to have a software that we used to sell, and the release cycle was, let's be honest, at best 6 months, and typically a bit longer than that. So by deploying this onto Bluemix and then re-architecting around the microservice architecture, these release cycles, I mean, we're talking of going from 6 months down to 6 days, down to 6 hours. I mean, you could probably ship new code into this new architecture in minutes now. That's what we're talking about in relation to the kind of agility that we're now enabling with the Bluemix platform and microservice architectures. And so I could probably talk for a lot longer about this, but it's probably a whole other topic in and of itself. But I'd encourage you to go and investigate some of the things that people are actually building for real on top of Bluemix. So before I leave you, I just want to talk about a little bit about what actually enables this agility. And certainly in the Bluemix platform, we have this relentless focus on everything is self-service. There's no kind of picking up the phone. There's no waiting for something to be provisioned. Everything is entirely self-service. And because I'm particularly familiar with it, I'll just point out that what I mean by this in terms of the MQLight service that I'm familiar with. But this applies to everything that you'll see within Bluemix. So with the MQLight, let's say you're in the position of wanting to try this out and understand how you could incorporate it into your applications. Or you'll find it in the catalog, you'll click through to see the details, and then there's a use button. So you'll see that we have a free tier, so you can use it for an experiment with it and play with it for an amount without paying a penny. But you just click the use button, and within a handful of moments, you are confronted with a fully provisioned, fully running service that you can start writing code against right there and then. And it takes just a matter of minutes. And the self-service doesn't just apply to the way that you provision technologies and services within Bluemix. It applies to the actual user experience of engaging with these themselves. So in the case of MQLight, we have an entire dashboard that's built around you understanding, as a developer, understanding what is happening within the MQLight service so that you can control it. Everything is controlled by your application, and you can see how that behavior manifests itself through the user interface here. So again, this is the example for MQLight, but this self-service approach is exactly the way that we've, exactly the approach that we've taken with all the other services in Bluemix. And this is what makes it particularly suited for DevOps style deployment methodologies, and why when you start applying those to like a microservice architecture, it's why people are looking at platform as a service like Bluemix to do just that. So I could go on for probably another hour at least. But rather than listening to me, I'd like to point everyone at the Bluemix platform. Go and visit the URL that you see here. You can sign up for a free trial where you get 30 days of unrestricted access to the services that are available in Bluemix, and really start getting your hands on, giving it a go, and let us know what you think. A lot of this is being driven by feedback from what people are actually playing with. Again, this whole approach to agility and responding to user feedback applies even more so within IBM, and we really are living this. So with that said, I would like to hand back to Janica, and we'll open up for a Q&A.
Thank you, Alan. At this point in time, I'd like to open it up for question and answers. If you have any questions at all, please make sure that you're sending them through on the right side chat panel, or else you can also raise your hand again on the right side chat panel, and we would be more than happy to unmute you so that you can ask your questions vocally. Perfect. Looks like we don't have any questions today. So moving forward, we have more webinars coming up. Please visit our website at www.miraclesoft.com/events or /webinars to take a look at some of the upcoming cloud webinars. We have another webinar which will be talking about enterprise connectivity with IBM Bluemix on September 29th. We'll also be talking about microservices and messaging with MQLight and Bluemix on October 6th as well. Please make sure that you visit our website. You can also check out all the on-demand webinars, including this webinar, at www.miraclesoft.com/library. Miracle can also help you with any health check workshops that you need to run. We can also help you with any of the digital transformation initiatives that you have. Our labs and COE team would be more than happy to help you with any pilot/POC services that you require. With that being said, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great day. Thank you.